On the edge of real and cyberspace, there's one place you can go, and you found it. Welcome to the Nightwise.com podcast, the one and only podcast with hacks, tips, and tweaks for cross-platform geeks. My name is Nightwise, and welcome to the experimental video blog of March 27th, 2018. And as I say this, it kind of takes me back, just stating the dates, to the very, very, very beginning of podcasting, where, sorry about the bumps in the road, where I used to listen to this guy called Sean, and Sean would podcast from his truck, and he would start, "This is Sean's blog for March 3rd, 2006, or something like that. And it was his daily blog of whatever he was doing, an audio blog, which wasn't really called a podcast back then. And it was always interesting to listen to. Content-wise, it was weird, but, it was okay. And it's a little nostalgic thinking about that, about blogs back in 2005, 2006, about podcasting back in the day, because I've been doing this on and off for about 15 years now. I started podcasting, I think, in 2005, 2006, so I'll give or take a couple of years, with some excessive pod fading in between, but always coming back to what I like to do, which is to produce content and tips for cross-platform geeks, and also using Nightwise.com as sort of an experimental environment where I try out new technologies and new lifestyles, or integrate technologies into my life in different ways. And what I'm doing today is exactly that. Nightwise.com has been pretty quiet the last couple of months because of the fact that I have so much to do with my company and that I've recently moved. But, I still listen to podcasts, and I got inspired by Daniel Messner's last episode. He does the podcast called The Cyberpunk Librarian. If you're not listening already, please subscribe. This man is brilliant. About blogging and social media and stuff like that. Everything was triggered by a cartoon from the Oatmeal, where there's this guy in front of his house, and it's a website, and he says, hey, come check out this cool thing. And suddenly Facebook comes along, and Facebook says, hey, we'll help you get more reach, get more listeners. So he goes to Facebook and he says, hey, everybody, come along. I'm going to sit here and do my thing. And then the next slide, it's like, hey, pay $10,000 to reach a fraction of your followers, which is exactly what Facebook has become these days. And Dan's podcast, I'll try not to rehash it completely, talks about the difference or the conflict between using social media and social media platforms to get your content hosted and reach more people versus doing it grassroots and hosting your own website, still having your own RSS feed and distributing content that way. And it's a dynamic that I am also struggling with. Nightwise.com has always been a lot of fun to do, but it's always been a lot of work. I love recording shows, but the production and stuff takes a lot of time. And for the last couple of months, I have been leaning on Katie Murray to help me out with the production. But it's becoming, we both have pretty intense lives, and I start to feel guilty becoming a burden, having to rely on other people to get the content out there. And on the other hand, there's also the fact that, I don't have the time to do it either, and then shows don't get done, which is kind of sad. So I was looking for other ways to distribute the content. So I thought, when I see more and more shows go towards platforms like YouTube, I go hey, that would be interesting. I can just record the shows, either audio or video, and post everything up to YouTube, link it in the show in on the nightwise.com website, so there's always a mirror between, and do my stuff that way. That, of course, is playing into the hands of a platform. Then you go towards the side of putting everything on a platform. But for production's sake, it would be very convenient. I mean, the hosting's free. I can do audio and video. There is a social media platform right there. I mean, the YouTube comments, they work. Okay, they're full of scammers and people who, you suck, but that's life. And that would be a nice place to park the content, because the way I'm doing it right now is I produce the show, I record the show, sorry. Keith produces the show, it gets uploaded to archive.org. It gets linked to the RSS feed. You guys download it, and then I have to start promoting the show on, I don't know, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google Plus, and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to create content in multiple places and try to feed these social media platforms with content while also having to feed my own website with content and stuff like that. And on the other hand, I do ask myself the question, who still downloads? I've recently seen the reboot of the Space Music podcast with TC. He's back. He's great ambient music. And he used to have his, an RSS feed, and you could download the shows and what have you. But now he only has them on Mixcloud, and if you become a patron, you can download the shows, which is a great model. And I rediscovered the show on Mixcloud, and I have been listening to not only that show, but also other music shows on Mixcloud, just streaming it. So the question that I'm really starting to ask myself is, do I still need the download? So, experiment. Experiment is going to be to try to produce a podcast and a couple of video blogs and put them up on YouTube and on the website. And maybe I'll post a link on the Facebook page, but I don't know about Facebook anymore. More and more people are leaning towards it, and as the network grows, it becomes more and more, corrupt. And I'm not talking about, redirecting the greatest democracy in the world, or so it calls itself, which is now veered towards left or right by a 29-year-old guy's company who wears a hoodie and kind of has more power than the president, or no, than the voters. That's true. Or than the media. Yeah. So how an advertising company has more power than the media. So as the network grows, I feel it becomes more and more corrupt, not only with that, but also with the fact that, the algorithms kind of push back content and push forward their own content. And before you know it, you kind of get programmed. You get programmed with the content that they want you to see. So I don't know if it's even worth my while doing that. Maybe YouTube is kind of the same, which is true, but it doesn't really add, it isn't asking me all the time, hey, do you want to boost this post? Hey, do you want to boost this post? Hey, do you want to spend money on this post? Hey, do you want to boost this post? Then I go like, nah, I don't think so. So, yeah, that's the dilemma right there. So on one end, I'm thinking everything on YouTube and just cross-link it to the website. Blogs are going to stay on the website, no problem, if I get the chance to write. And the content that I produce will also get linked to the website. And in the beginning, I'll still keep the RSS feed, and then I'll see what happens. If the YouTube channel grows, it grows. If the RSS feed grows, we'll choose that. I'll let the audience decide. So that's something that I wanted to ask you guys. What do you think? What do you think that I should do? Should I lean towards streaming or continue to download? How do I produce the content that I want to produce in an easy way without, feeding the large networks and remaining independent and on the other hand, having to do everything myself. So yeah, how do we reach an audience? How do we produce content in a convenient way? How do I integrate this technology into my life and let technology work for me? That is the question. I'm hungeringly awaiting your responses.